Hi, everyone. Welcome to our virtual field trip to a pig farm. Thank you all for being patient as we were trying to work out some technical difficulties there, but I think we've got everyone mostly on board here, and hopefully you can all see us right now as well. So my name's Mandy Masters, and I work with the Wisconsin Pork Association, and we're really excited to have this program here for you today and being able to just show you how pigs are raised and cared for and answer any questions you might have about pigs and pig farming. So I'd first like to thank our Wisconsin Soybean Marketing Board for helping sponsor this virtual field trip. As you'll find out, soybeans are an important part of what pigs eat, and we're very appreciative of the Wisconsin Soybean Board's support to help bring this program to you. Now, before we get too far along here, I have a quick reminder just that if anybody does have questions throughout as we're talking here, you can type them in on the chat box on the side. And then we'll also have some time later on to where those of you that have those camera connections can come up and students can ask those questions directly to us as well. We'll do some quick introductions here of who we have on our field trip. So if you have a camera and you want to wave when I call in your classroom just so we can see who you are, that would be great. First, I'll point out Dan. I think we've seen him a little bit already today, who is helping us figure out all of these audio and video connections. So we're very thankful to have him on and helping us make sure everything works for you today. And then we've got our classroom. So I know we've got a group here from Partyville. And yep, I see you guys waving. We've got the group from Owen Withy, and I don't think they have a camera on them, but we welcome them. Same with the school, the classroom from the school in Black Hawk. So we've got them on. We've got a group from Eau Claire. I think you guys, yep, you're waving there. And then we have a group from Hurley, and I'm not sure. Oh, there you guys are. And then I think we're just waiting. We had one other classroom. We'll see if they join in or not, but we'll keep moving forward here anyway. And introduce our featured guest today. So we've got Lauren.
Yep. Hi.
Hi, Lauren. So Lauren's connecting with us today all the way from her family's farm in Ohio. But even though Lauren's in Ohio right now, what you're going to see her show us today is very similar to what you might see on the pig farms here in Wisconsin too. So Lauren's already inside the barn right now, but she did give us a few pictures of what her family's farm looks like and what the pig barns look like from the outside. So if we can get those up on your screens, if that's showing. Hopefully you'll see the pictures there that have, there's some grain bins, I think, on one, and you can see the white barns there, which might look a little bit different than what you normally would see. And then just there's a closer up view as well on the next one. So a little bit different, like I said, than what some of us might think of when we think of a barn, but they're specially designed just for the pigs, and it provides them with a clean and comfortable place to grow. So those barns are made just for raising those pigs. And Lauren, if you want to add anything else to talk about your farm, I think I'll pass it over to you to tell us, a little bit more about the barns and your farm and what it is you do every day.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, my family has a pig farm here in Butler County, Ohio, and we are a breed-to-wean farm. So we raise the mother pigs, like here's one right here, and they're piglets. She's bred on the farm, and it's my responsibility to give them the best care they need until they're about, I'll show you some, until they're about 3 weeks old. And then we raise them for another farmer close by, and he'll raise them on out to market. And so my dad is a first-generation farmer. He just fell in love with taking care of pigs, and it's a great opportunity to be able to work on the farm with him on a regular basis. It's just my dad, my brother, and I and my brother's fiance, and we spend a lot of time in here making sure all these piglets get the care they need. There's about 1,200 sows, but each and every one gets individually looked at every day.
Awesome. So, what does a typical day look like for you, Lauren?
Yeah. So a typical day, I first come out and I'll go through all of the birthing houses and I'll feed each and every sow. So each mother has her own pen with her piglets and she has her own individual feeder. So I'll go through and feed them a mixture of corn and soybean meal. We buy all our grain from other local farmers and we grind it ourselves on the farm. And I make sure that she ate her food from the day before, that it's clean. She has access to water at all times. She has like a drinking fountain. If you push down, see, she can get water whenever she wants. And that way I can go through and look at each and every one of her piglets. She likes me holding it for her. And see, she has an ear tag to identify her with. So I can record anything I need to about her, like how many piglets she had, how she's doing. The pen is designed the way it is so that the piglets have a nice warm heat lamp to lay under. These piglets are about a week old. And once they're born, I can record any data I need to, like they were born on October 2nd. And then I can make sure that each one is doing well. And that's basically what I do is go through each of the furring houses. And she's centered in the middle because she's really big, as you can tell, and the piglets are really small. And so that keeps her piglets protected if she doesn't accidentally see them when she lays down. And then she always has her feed and water in front of her at all times. So they're very comfortable. I also go through and make sure that the barns are adjusted properly. I'll show you kind of an overview. Like there's a fan up there, and there's control systems on the wall to adjust the temperature of the barn so they're comfortable all times.
Yep. Because in Ohio, Lauren, does it get kind of cold in the winter and pretty hot in the summer?
Yes, definitely. When my dad first started, he raised our pigs outside, but he began to notice how the weather began to take a toll on them. They could get really hot and sunburnt in the summertime. They could really get cold or frostbite in the wintertime. They were also exposed to a lot of germs and dirt. We wanted to make sure they had clean food. There's also different wild animals outside that could get the piglets. And so in here, they're safe and they're comfortable, and they don't have to worry about any of that, those weather elements. All their needs are met.
Great. So Lauren, about how much do those pigs weigh when they're born, and how much do you think they weigh now?
A piglet, when it's born, is only a couple of pounds. It's very tiny. I think I have a couple smaller ones I can show you. But then they'll get up to 15 pounds within a couple weeks. And then they'll already be big enough to not nurse on their mother anymore and eat regular pig food, like you just saw that the mom eats. So sometimes we'll sprinkle that on the mats. When they get older, you can see a little bits on the mat for them to start learning how to eat. And then they'll go to the other farmer and they'll get up to 270 pounds just within 6 months. So they grow really fast.
Yes, they do. So how long do these pigs stay there with their mothers?
They'll stay with their mothers about 2.5 to 3 weeks old. So we just want to make sure that they're big enough and doing well and that they get off to the best start.
Absolutely.
So here you can see them nursing.
Lauren, you mentioned, you and your dad. Is there anyone else that helps you on the farm, and what might they do?
Yeah. So my brother helps out on the farm. We actually have 2 sites. He lives on the other one, and it's all gestation, which is another word for when the sows are pregnant. and he'll take care of those sows um, every day, making sure they get the nutrition they need, that they're having a healthy pregnancy. He have preg checking the sows to make sure they're bred, and then he comes home, helps. We all help with the breeding of the sows, and we make sure that our veterinarian comes and we talk with him and he does a herd checkup. My dad and my brother feed, like I mentioned, how we grind the feed for our sows. And then he helps in the farrowing houses some as well. So I help with the breeding and mostly in here, looking at each pig.
Okay. But it's all very much family run, right?
Yeah, it's just family. And we only have some neighbors to help us a couple of days when we wean the piglets.
Okay.
So, mhm.
So we see several different pigs there, Lauren. How many are in each litter typically?
Oh, it's a good question. There's typically 10 to 13 piglets in each litter. So the really neat thing about piglet or sows is it doesn't have to be their own. So when they're first born, I can even them all up in numbers and size. So I can put all the little runt piglets on one mother together and all the bigger piglets on another mother to make sure they all get the milk they need. Important. Sorry. Let's
Good.
see
You
if I
can
can
see
go
some
over
of them.
here.
They look happy there. So, and they do have, I think you can kind of see the light in the corner there. What is the purpose
Yeah,
of
it's a
that?
dragon. Yeah, each pen has a heat lamp for them to lay under, and that's especially important in the wintertime as it's getting colder now. So as they're born, they can come around and get under the heat lamp and get warm right away. They can get dried off, and then they'll be able to come over and nurse from their mother. So they lay under the heat lamp all the time just because they're so small. They want that extra warmth.
Good. Let's see. I had some questions submitted ahead of time here, Lauren. One of them, I know you showed the water spigot there and that sow
Okay.
getting water. Do you know
Mhm.
how much she drinks every day?
Um, that's a good question. I know she drinks a lot. I'm not exactly sure because she has access to water at all times. Um,
Okay.
but she definitely drinks a lot of water because it's so important for her to have that food and water for her to nurse her piglets. If her eat enough, then she won't be able to produce enough milk.
Yep. And like Lauren said, so she can get water anytime she wants, so it's not limited at all, that she can have as
Hmm.
much fresh water any time of day. So
Yeah.
that's great to have there.
Mhm.
We also had a question then in too of what they eat and how much they eat. I know you showed us the feed bin there. Is that
Yeah.
given every day?
Yes, that's given every day. Let me get another litter. Yeah, that's given every day to them. These in the farrowing houses, they'll eat twice a day, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. And we make sure that she has at least 5 pounds for herself and an additional pound for every piglet. So she needs to eat a lot to make sure that she stays in good body condition, good health, and provides her piglets with them grow.
Okay. And I think so. It's corn and soybeans is what those pigs eat. I think we might, if Dan can put it up, have a slide about that too, just to kind of show um, how that's ground up too. That one more there, I think, Dan. There we go. So we're all probably pretty familiar there with what the ear of corn and those corn kernels look like. And then on the other side, we've got the soybean pods and the soybeans. But the pigs don't eat them in that whole form, but rather, like Lauren said, they grind up the feed so that it's easier for the pig to eat. So that's what you see in that person's hands there is that ground corn and soybean meal. That's just going to be a better way for those pigs to be able to eat that, those corn and soybeans is ground up like that. And I think we saw that too, Lauren had shown in the feeder as well.
Yep. See, here she is eating out of the feeder. So she got up and she can eat when she wants. She can get a drink.
Yep.
So she's pretty happy.
So we also had a question, Lauren, about how long do those mother pigs there stay on your farm?
They could stay up here to 3 to 4 years as long as they're healthy and doing good. Then we'll keep them. Yeah, we're really appreciative of ourselves and want to make sure that we feed them properly and keep them healthy. So
awesome.
And it's just a pig gets a little older. Hold on a second.
We'll see if Lauren comes back here.
Have you had a chance to talk about how fast the pigs grow?
Well, we could go to that if you want to.
Sure.
So Lauren mentioned it a little bit of, when the pigs are born, they only weigh a couple of pounds, but then they grow really fast. So we'll go one up. There we go. So like we talked about, so when those piglets are born, they weigh just at 2 or 3 pounds, but within just 4 weeks, like Lauren said, they're already up to 15 or 20 pounds and they're ready to, stop drinking that milk from their mother and eat that mixture of corn and soybeans and start switching over to a more solid food. By 8 weeks old, they already weigh 40 to 60 pounds, so probably just as much, not quite as all of you. And then by 6 months old, they already weigh at least 270 pounds, and then they're ready to go to market. So within the matter of 6 months, they're already fully grown pigs. I think we've got Lauren back. We see another batch of pigs there.
Yeah, they're all nursing. Sorry about that.
They're making some noise.
Yeah. Yep, it's going to be snack time.
Yeah. How many times a day will those pigs nurse, Lauren?
Several times throughout the day. I'm in here in and out throughout the day, and they'll just nap for a while, and then they'll nurse and nap for a while and nurse. So.
Yep. So being a pig isn't too rough of a life.
No. They got their needs met. They're pretty content. They can get to their mom whenever they want to.
Mm-hmm. So I think we'll see if Lauren has anything else she wants to add. I don't know if her connection's cutting out a little bit there, but we might see if we can try to get some questions from the classrooms too, if Lauren's still with us.
Sure. Yep, we can go ahead.
Okay. If anybody has a question, so if you have a camera, if you have a question, if you just want to come up in front of the camera so that I can see you, and then I'll call on you so that we can get you unmuted when we need to. And those of you that don't have that camera screen, if you want to type some questions into the chat box, that will work best. So. Okay, so I see a hand raised there, someone in blue. And we'll just wait a second while we get you unmuted. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thinking about my question. How many pigs can they store for each year in the pen?
Can you ask that question again?
Wait, where? Okay. How many pigs can they fit in the pen?
Did you?
Yeah, I can't quite hear him.
I couldn't either. If you maybe want to type that in for us so that we can get that, and then we'll address it, and we'll come back to you guys, okay?
Okay.
I did have one pop up in the chat here, was wondering how many years pigs can live. Lauren kind of talks about that with the mother pigs, that they can be around for several years. Otherwise, your market pigs, about 6 months is how long they will live before, at 6 months old, they're ready to go to market.
Yes.
Okay, Lauren, so that other question there was, how many pigs do you have in a year?
Okay. Oh, there are about 30,000 piglets born a year here.
So definitely a lot of them. Okay, were there other questions? If people want to come forward to the cameras, if you have them, so we can see you. I see another hand raised there in orange. And if you give us a second, I'll let you know when we've got you ready. There, you can ask your question.
How much do the pigs weigh when they go into market?
Did you catch that, Mandy?
Yep, so the question there was, how much do the pigs weigh when they go to market?
Oh, around 270 pounds.
Yep. Let's see, are there other questions from any of the other classrooms there? If you want to come up so we can see you. Oh, it looks like I see another one there in orange. You want to come a little bit closer, if you can, to the camera there and ask your question?
It's like Superman has a question.
Yeah. What's your question?
How many piglets does the mama pig have at one time?
A mother will typically have 10 to 13 piglets, but sometimes they have more or less. I've seen a mom only have a few piglets before, and I've seen a mother give birth to over 20 piglets before. And so that's why I said the neat thing about them is if there's many litters born on one day, I can even them up in numbers so that all the piglets get enough milk.
Okay, any other questions there? I see another hand, several hands in the one classroom there. I think I see somebody. Are you in purple, perhaps? The hand raised?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many pigs are in each pen? Oh my god.
How many pigs are in each pen, right? So,
Yeah.
Did you catch that, Lauren? They're asking how many pigs are in each pen. So maybe you can talk about, you know, the each sow, and then perhaps just that whole kind of barn that you're in as well.
Oh yeah. So there's many different pens in this barn. So each of the mother pigs has their own pen with their piglets. And so like this mother, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She has 11 piglets that she's raising. But in this barn, there is about 36. There's 36 mothers and their piglets just in this room.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay, we have a
You
question.
can kind of see some of the other pens. There's a fan that can blow over them and air vents. There's some fans on the walls. And so,
It's like the
but
nurse.
this way I can go through and look at each one of them.
All right, I think that helps answer it. Is there another question.
Hurley has one.
Okay, why don't you guys go ahead? You're ready.
How long can the sows feed for?
Could you repeat that for me, Mandy?
So they're asking, well, the question was, how long do the sows feed for? Maybe if you can talk a little bit of, how, if she's got food out all day and whether.
Oh, how long do they
she
eat?
just, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
like is she?
No.
Or is it
What his
something
question
different?
was: once a sow has the babies, does she just keep feeding there for months or years, or how long is the mother providing food for the
Okay.
piglets?
Okay.
For the piglets?
Yeah.
Yeah, when the mother gives birth to the piglets, she'll come into this barn. She'll have been in a group pen with other sows while she was pregnant. And then right when she's about to give birth, like we know her due date, we record whenever she's bred. She comes into this barn here. And so she stays here with her piglets for 2.5 to 3 weeks. We wean piglets every other week, so that's why it's not when the piglets leave. And so then once the piglets, she'll eat twice a day. Here we give her enough feed, and some of the older sows, they'll eat all their feed at once and wait for us to come and feed them again, or some of the sows will nibble on their feed throughout the day. And then once her piglets are weaned and big enough to go to the other farmer, she'll leave, and then she'll go back into a breeding barn. And whenever she comes back into heat, she'll be bred again. And that's the thing about pigs is they have regular cycles, and so every so many days they'll want to come into heat and be bred again. So she's only in here for a short period of time.
Lauren, too, how many litters maybe per year does each pig have?
Well, a sow is pregnant for 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days. So she has 2 litters a year, going into her third, a litter within a year.
Okay. So Lauren, I've got a great question here that just came in on our chat that asked why pigs roll in the mud. So maybe you can talk about, why pigs, kept outdoors used to roll in the mud, and perhaps how you keep them cool instead now indoors.
Yeah. So when my dad first started, all of the pigs were outside, and they would get very hot in the summertime because pigs don't sweat like we do to keep themselves cool. And they also wanted to protect their skin. So they would roll around in the mud and root in the dirt. And that way they could keep themselves cooled off. But still a lot of them would still get sunburnt, and that caused them to get sick or not have healthy pregnancies and be able to give birth to their piglets. And so we moved them inside so that they don't have to worry about that, and they can be comfortable all the time. So in here they'll just gather and roll around in the pen. They don't have to worry about trying to stay cooled off.
Great. So that's, again, one of the benefits of having the pigs being raised in the barns and indoors is that, we don't have to worry nearly as much about those weather conditions and anything else that might be harmful to them. Let's see, I have another question here. One that asks, oh, do we have somebody at the camera? I think they're in black. You can go ahead. Why don't you?
Okay.
How many male hogs do you have at the farm?
How many hogs do we have?
Male hogs.
Male hogs.
Oh, male. We just have about, let me count, 1, 2, 3, about 5. And that's because there's different barns. Well, they'll stay in, and then when it's time to breed, they'll go around and they'll look at all the females, and the females will want to come in to heat to be bred. But we use to breed the piglets. That way we know, or to breed the sows so they have piglets. So that way that we know they're bred for sure.
Yep. So on Lauren's farm, they focus mostly on the care of the mother pigs and the piglets, rather than on raising other pigs at all. So they focus just mostly on those mother pigs and their babies.
Yeah.
Let's see, there's another question. I see somebody waving at us in orange. If we can get them unmuted.
Pigs do you have in all?
Try again, bud.
How many pigs do you have in all?
Okay, so that question is asking how many total pigs you have on your farm, Lauren.
Oh, total? Well, the number of piglets is always changing. But we have 1,200 sows, the mother pigs. And throughout the year, there will be around 30,000 piglets born. But that number is always changing because piglets grow so quickly and go to the other farmer all the time.
Okay. I've got another question. Someone raising their hand there in stripes.
Find another litter.
You can go ahead.
What is the age of the oldest pig in the farm, and what is its name?
No. Well, one of the male boars, his name is Rocky, and he's a few years old. So we really like him. He stays on the farm.
So I did have a question come in earlier too that was asking about what the largest pig ever known was. So I did look that up for you guys. And I found that the heaviest pig on record weighed over 2,000 pounds. So definitely a very, very big pig, and not typical though of what we would see today in our farms. And you know, those pigs we're looking at there certainly don't weigh 2,000 pounds.
Yeah, and today, because pigs are kept inside and they don't get as big, they're much leaner and healthier, and so pork is much healthier for us to eat.
Absolutely. I have someone waving in black, it looks like. If you wait a second, we'll get you unmuted. There you go.
How many pigs do you usually have in a year?
How many pigs in a year? I think Lauren answered that already with about 30,000 total. Is that right, Lauren?
How many pigs do we raise a year, or does a sow raise?
Pigs in a year, I think was the question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we raise around 30,000 piglets a year, but each mother, she'll raise 10 to 13 piglets on each litter, and she'll have a couple litters a year.
Okay.
So.
I also had one question come in here asking about whether or not the mother pigs or those sows like it when you're in the barn there and, you know, maybe picking up their piglets. Are they aggressive when you do that, or are they pretty used to you being in the barn and friendly?
Oh. No, the mothers are really used to us being in the barn, and most of the time they look forward to us coming in because that means it's time to eat. But they still are mothers, and so they're protective of their piglets. But most of the time, if we just pick up their piglets and look at them, we put them right back, and they don't mind.
Okay.
So she's down here.
All right. I think we'll do maybe just if we've got a couple more questions, and then I know we got started a little bit late today, so I want to make sure we get you all going on to the rest of your day's plans. So I've got one hand raised there. You can go ahead.
What is the age of an adult pig when they go off to the market?
So what's the age of a pig when it goes to market? Was that the question? Yep.
Yes.
So that I can answer that, Lauren. That pig's going to be about 6 months old when it's ready for markets, and it's going to weigh about 270 pounds at that point. Okay, one more question. Well, maybe not. If someone in orange there was just up by the camera, did you have, or not? Otherwise, we've got another one I see here with a hand raised. You can go ahead.
How tall can pigs get?
How tall can pigs get?
What was the question?
I think it was about how tall pigs are. So maybe give us a comparison of how high off the ground those piglets stand, and maybe how high off the ground the mother pigs are, maybe in comparison like to you or something else there we can see.
Yeah. Yeah, the piglets see this mother, she's standing up. She's probably about a few feet tall. She weighs a lot, so she's really big. She'll weigh, several hundred pounds. The piglets are really small. I mean, they're probably half a foot tall.
Okay. And let's do one last question here. I've got someone standing up kind of in a purplish colored shirt there. You can ask your question.
How do you identify your pigs? On our farm, we do ear notches.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, we don't have to do ear notches because all of our pigs go to the other farmer, so they don't need to, so they know exactly where they came from. But what we do is each mother tag, like you see, that identifies her from the mother or the farm she came from. And then once she's bred on our farm, we gave her another ear tag. Like you see, she's number red 208, and that way we can keep track of her and her piglets.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. So if anybody else has other questions after this, if you have some more discussions in your classrooms, you can feel free to send them my way and we can get them on to Lauren so that she can answer any of those. I just want to make sure that everybody gets their questions answered here, and also, like I said, time-wise, making sure we get you all where you need to be the rest of the day here. But everybody had some really great questions, and I thank you all for joining us today, and thank you for sticking with us as we worked through some of those technical difficulties a little bit earlier on. Teachers, just a reminder here, I'm going to be emailing you an evaluation so you can give us some feedback on how things went today and how we can make it better for future field trips that we do. And then I'd once again like to thank our Wisconsin Soybean Marketing Board for helping sponsor this program. And of course, our biggest thank you goes out to Lauren for taking time out of her busy day today to show us the pigs. So why don't we give Lauren a round of applause here.